CEE,
Central Europe Explained,
an IDM podcast series
powered by Erste Group.
Episode 52, 20 years of the EU enlargement. Do you remember what you were doing on the 1st of May of 2004? Well, that was the day when the biggest enlargement of the European Union took place. 10 countries joined the EU, including 6 from our region: the Czech Republic, Hungary, Lithuania, Poland, Slovakia, and Slovenia. Now, can you imagine what was going on in the minds of the politicians, the writers, and the key figures who were at the forefront of this historic moment? Welcome to Central Europe Explained. I'm your host, Gloria Becerril, and in this episode, we will explore the stories of those who experienced these transformative moments firsthand. Join us as we journey back 20 years to the EU's monumental 2004 enlargement, an event that reshaped daily lives, expanded opportunities, and elevated aspirations in ways that still continue to influence us today. And we will also look to the future. 8 candidate countries from Eastern and Southeastern Europe are currently aligning their laws with the EU rules so they can finally become members as well. In May 2024, the Institute for the Danube Region and Central Europe hosted the event 20 Years of EU Enlargement and EU Elections 2024, Summary and Outlook for the Danube Region. At this exciting and very timely event, distinguished European public figures shared their experiences and perspectives on EU enlargement. I'm happy to share some of these personal stories with you today. So what was going on through the minds of those who made history? Benita Ferrero-Waldner, she was a Minister of Foreign Affairs in Austria at the time, and she went to Athens to sign the accession treaty. Let's see how this made her feel.
Well, you can imagine, after years of working in order to have an accession, I was overwhelmed of this historic moment, because we signed it, Prime Minister Schüssel and myself, in Athens during the Greek presidency. And I remember very well, it was a beautiful day. We were sitting outside behind the Acropolis. So I think it was a day that I could really describe again. I will never forget. And I thought, of course, I thought of all the colleagues with whom we have been working, of Martoni and Ruppel and others. So you can imagine, these were all in my mind. And I must say it was a matter and a moment of joy.
Next, we hear from Noémi Kiss, a prominent writer from Hungary whose works often explore themes about identity and belonging in a changing Europe. Let's see where she was on the 1st of May of 2004.
I think I was traveling between Germany, Austria, and Hungary. For my generation, studying abroad was already possible. Joining the EU was a huge event for me, but also for my grandmother. I remember that my grandmother was delighted because part of our family lives in Austria, in Graz.
Jiří Šitler is a Czech diplomat, historian, and current ambassador of the Czech Republic in Austria. He was stationed in Thailand during the enlargement, so he shared with us what it was like to witness this historic moment from abroad.
Well, in 2004, I was actually posted in Thailand as ambassador, so I followed it a little bit like from a distance. And the practical part of us becoming part of the EU was that we started to be invited to the meetings of the EU heads of missions, so we were part of the deliberations, and it was very important for us to be acknowledged. I think that I fully understood what it means to be an EU member and how important it was and how we are actually part of the decision-making processes.
Have you ever wondered how such a significant event impacts the professional lives of those involved? Let's listen how the 2004 EU enlargement shaped our guests' careers, whether in the cultural, political, or economic sphere.
I was always sure that the enlargement would benefit everybody, especially Austria, because we together are in the middle again. We were at the edge, and now we are back in the center. And I think history somehow accomplished something that had been gone for many, many years. This was for me the most important benefit, but of course we know that also economically it was and it is a great benefit. We all together doubled our economy, and in Austria we even tripled. Can you imagine? So I think people have to know that it was so important. And today I must say, if I go to Vienna, Vienna is full of all the different languages, of all the colleagues. I think Vienna again is an important capital of Europe. So that makes me happy.
The EU has provided a lot of support for authors. Today, you can read literature in your language, and many small European languages are being translated. This helps in understanding and communicating diverse personal stories, post-war stories, and post-communist stories.
Despite all the difficulties and all the things we have to change and adapt and learn, I mean, it's despite of that, it's definitely worth it. For us, it was kind of a conclusion of the process which started in 1989 and culminated in 1999, our NATO membership, and then 2004, our EU membership. It was like kind of like the fall of the second fall of the Iron Curtain, I would say. So we became like full members of the biggest democratic community in the world. I mean, the membership, it's a great deal, and it will make them more safe. It will make them more prosperous.
The next speaker is Juraj Droba, president of the Bratislava self-governing district. What was his perspective from Slovakia?
Austria was the first country to give us a helping hand in 1989. Right after the borders opened, it was a very cheerful moment. And a lot of Slovaks in my age think very positively about these 2 or 3 months when the borders were open. We were greeted by the Austrian border guards and also by the Austrian citizens when we came to Vienna. 15 years later, we joined the European Union, and again Austria was next to us and with us and helping us first in the approximation process and afterwards also during the first steps in the EU. And until now, we are very happy about being a part of the great European peace project. For the regional politics, I think it's absolutely crucial. And I need to say about cohesion policy, which is something that helps us finance all the development projects in our region. I think European Union is benefiting from Slovakia being a part of it, and of course Slovakia is greatly benefiting from being a part of the European Union. Bratislava is a bordering region. We have 2 next door neighbors. One is Niederösterreich, and the other one is the Hungarian county in the northwest of Hungary. These are our natural partners. There are a lot of human contacts between the neighboring villages. There are a lot of marriages. There is a lot of educational, healthcare and other cooperation going on, and transportation, of course. All projects are very important, but the dearest projects close to my heart are the bridges which connect Austria and Slovakia. There are 2 bicycle bridges across the Mähren River, and one was built by my predecessor and the other one was opened a few years ago by me, and I'm very proud of this because it somehow was the dot or the period behind the long fruitful cooperation with Niederösterreich.
And what about the future? What does the future hold for the EU? Our speakers reflect on the EU's potential for further expansion. Let's start with Rudolf Schicker, lecturer and former city councillor of Vienna, as he shares his insights with us.
Well, the experiences of Austria were rather complicated in those days because there were two other candidates where the European Union could not be sure that they will make the run with their citizens, because in Sweden and in Norway it was rather unsecure if both people would like to join the Union. In Austria, we had one or the other interventions which were not so helpful, if I remember all the discussions Mr. Haider introduced. But at the very end, the Austrians knew that it is better to be part of the bigger Europe. And I think that was the big difference to all the 10 new member states with the enlargement in 2004. Because in these 10 new states for the European Union, it was clear that is safety for them, safety from all interventions by Russia. So I think we were in a more comfortable position as Austrians anyway, but we were all very, very happy that with 2004, with the enlargement of the Union, the Iron Curtain alongside the Austrian border to the north and to the east and to the south was gone forever. From the very beginning, Vienna became the light tower of cities for all the other cities further to the east, and even to the north for Warsaw and Prague as well. And we had this enlargement cooperation of capital cities. And of course they wanted to know how to deal with all the new regulations, with the new subsidy systems, how to transport your own ideas to their own national government. And I think Vienna had a good opportunity to show how to deal with this. I think we did well on that, and many of the cities, of the new capital cities, they learned a lot from how the city of Vienna is dealing with European subjects. And I think that's good for all. I'm convinced that the Western Balkans should become a member to the European Union as soon as possible. And then the process starts again.
Mein Wunsch ist heute, dass auch das Balkan und auch die anderen Länder zu der EU gehören.
My wish today is for the Balkans and other countries to become part of the EU because they are also European in our eyes.
In Europa gedacht.
Thank you very much to all our speakers from the Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia, and Austria, who shared their memories and insights with us. I think this has given us the chance to see the human side of the figures who make history in a region. And I also believe that we can conclude that the 2004 enlargement was for many people a very positive experience and continues to be a significant part of recent history. Its effects were felt not only on a political level, but also on a personal level. And I think it's also clear that our speakers share the hope for a more united Europe. You will find a link to the event 20 Years of EU Enlargement and EU Elections 2024 Review and Outlook from the Danube region in the show notes. And if you want to know more about the countries that joined 20 years ago, as well as other countries in the region, visit our website at www.idm.at. There, you will find an interactive map, and you can click on any country in our target region to learn more and access all the content and publications our team has been working on. Before we wrap up, I want to recommend an anthology of short films called Visions of Europe. It's a collection of 25 short films by directors from all over Europe, including the acclaimed Finnish director Aki Kaurismäki, the Hungarian director and screenwriter Béla Tarr, and the German director Fatih Akin, who won a Golden Globe Award in 2018 for Best Foreign Language Film with his movie In the Faith. Each short film in Visions of Europe offers a unique perspective on what it means to be part of the EU, blending both cultural and political themes. It was released in 2004 and it captures the vibe and challenge of that significant year through a variety of stories, from personal tales to broader social issues. It's a great look at unity, diversity, and what makes Europe special. So, whether you're into cultural stories or political themes, Visions of Europe is really engaging and ties in perfectly with our talk about 20 years of EU enlargement. Thank you for listening and stay tuned for more episodes from the 4th season of Central Europe Explained. This was CEE, Central Europe Explained, a podcast series produced by the Institute for the Danube Region and Central Europe. If you enjoyed listening to us, make sure to subscribe to the IDM podcast series on your favorite podcast platform. Additionally, you can explore our other work on our website www.idm.at. If you have any feedback or if you're interested in collaborating on a podcast episode, please do not hesitate to contact us through our social media channels at IDM Vienna or write us an email to idm@idm.at.
IDM Podcast.
Institut für den Donauraum und Mitteleuropa.
Institute for the Danube Region and Central Europe.
European perspectives.
Regional actions.
Cooperation and expertise since 1953.